Welcome to another review here at Big Gold Belt Media. It is I, Damon G. You got Cam up in the upper corner and Nadia up in the other corner. And we are going to be doing a season long recap, spoilers for the boys offshoot known as Gen V. And spoilers to everybody else. And just so y'all just know, I've never seen an episode of The Boys, so I went into this blind, not realizing it was a boys offshoot from the trailer 2 Chainz showed me. And suffice to say, y'all, I was taken aback by a lot of what I saw. Again, folks, this is a spoiler-filled review. We'll drop the first 3 episodes here, and then every week for the following 5 weeks, we'll do a weekly review show of Gen V. Prime Video, thank you, Prime, for letting us actually watch this interesting spectacle, as I like to say it. And yeah, so first things first, the gratuitous violence for anyone who's watched The Boys, you two specifically.
Yeah.
How does it rate? Is it on par? How does this spin off? So if you can give the audience, that bit of to do, that'd be great. Cam, you can start.
It definitely holds par with the whole entire Boys series, I feel like. For some reason, me watching all the season of The Boys, every time something weird or crazy or grotesque happens in the show, I'm still off put and kind of surprised. Not, because I think in my mind I have this visualization that I'm watching a Marvel's film or I'm watching a regular, comic book movie that has like a smiley, happy ending, and then I turn around and somebody loses limbs, and I'm like, oh, let me turn my computer away because I have people behind me watching it, But it definitely holds bar, I think, with the whole entire Boys series, though, just from beginning to end.
What about you, Nadia?
I'm actually super impressed with it. At first, I was a little skeptical to have a spin-off series, but I think it's doing a phenomenal job in keeping up with The Boys, and it's also upping the ante still. And they do surprise you with a lot of the violence, but I think that's also what makes The Boys special, because a lot of other shows can do that, like Game of Thrones, kill anybody off, or a show can just have random acts of violence. But with The Boys, it works so well because the whole point of the series is to make fun of superheroes, and it takes it to another level. I'm really enjoying Gen V so far. I'm really surprised.
And for me personally, just watching it off rip, as someone who grew up with, let's say, all these teeny bopper, Saved by the Bell shows, 90210, I got a lot of that in these first 3 episodes. A lot of teenage angst, backstabbing, double crossing, and these are just from the students, but there's also, and we'll get into it, a whole bunch of real life concerns, living up to family lineages, gender identity. Where do I fit in? There's, anorexia, bulimia. There's a lot of real life topics in this. So it's not as satirical as maybe some people would think it would be on surface. But so there's a lot to grasp onto, specifically if you know a lot of what Gen Z, V, or what have you is going through. So let's just start there. The first effing scene of this show is a girl having her period, immediately I thought of, and I'm not gonna lie, I wrote down, what in the MK1 is this? Because I thought of Scarlet from Mortal Kombat with the blood magic, and it was one of those things where oh, we're going here. But then we do a complete turn off of Albuquerque where we have, death of parents, due to blood. So if y'all want to just go more into detail about the first maybe 10 minutes of what y'all saw, and to kind of paint the picture for the audience. Go ahead, Nadia.
So leading Gen V is Jazz Sinclair. She's from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So she plays Maya, who's pretty much one of the predominant heroes in this series. And really what the show is about is, not to give too much away, but part of what The Boys is the Seven. They're the Justice League of the world.
Yes.
So that's the ultimate goal for anybody that is a hero. That's where you want to be. That's the ultimate status. You want to be the next Homelander, who's essentially Captain America and Superman. That's the end game. And Queen Maeve, who's Wonder Woman. So basically all these kids are in this school kind of finding themselves to reach that status, and they have an option. They can be in the play, actors kind of part, or you can be in the heroes part, which is essentially why the kids go to the school. They want to be the hero. So Maya, basically, we see in a crazy, sad opening scene where she tragically kills her parents. And the whole point of Gen V is really the kids that were, I guess, like injected with Compound V as children via via their parents to make their children superheroes, because that's what everyone wants, like their child to be the next Starlight. So basically, she gets injected with this and she doesn't know. And then as a woman, like a kid becoming a woman, having her period, it's supposed to be like a monumental thing for a woman, but instead, like, she kills her mother accidentally. And that's kind of how the show starts. So it's already dark, but like you were mentioning, Damien, like there's a lot of teen elements in it. So it's not only like trying to be the next superhero, it's also, like you said, being a teenager. So you're going to deal with backstabbing, you're going to deal with fake friends, you're going to deal with gossip, you're going to deal with all these other things. So I think the show is doing a really good job of like showing you these teenagers in this like Hunger Games kind of like world.
Oh no, exactly. And just for those that don't know, they are going to a school called, I think it's called Godolkin University. I'm like, who the hell came up with that name? But you know, just like if y'all saw, what was it, the New Mutants movie, I got a lot of vibes from the New Mutants as the series went on for the first 3 episodes of this underground compound, you know, that they're keeping some of the kids for whatever reasons that we'll find out more in the future. But Cam, can you break down maybe for the audience a little bit more about the day-to-day that you saw from day 1 of episode 1 of these kids in these schools? You know, it reminded me also of My Hero Academia. So that's something, another vibe I got from it. Yeah.
Just to kind of piggyback off of what Nadia said. I mean, honestly, it started out very, very epic, I guess you could say, in the first couple scenes, because the character Marie, she was basically just trying to she was hanging out with her sister, right? Just having a normal day. And like most kids that have taken Compound V, that their parents have given it to them, they've developed these powers early. But for her, you know, they just happen to come through when she becomes a woman later on, which is a little too late for her to be able to control them, and ends up taking out her mom and pops, right? So she got 3 different options in there. I think so. From her foster mother, she told her she could either be, like Nadia said, you could be a superhero to enter into the 7. You could become a film actress, or they probably send you to like some type of camp, I think was like the last option. And whatever you want to do is you don't want to get kicked out of the school, which is her initial thought. But yeah, it just seems like a story of basically my crazy addiction with true life, along with the boys combined, as she's trying to wrangle and kind of figure out where she fits in this world and in this community. But also, it seems like just another teen story, like you said, you know, like her trying to figure out herself alone, not just alone with these powers. So for me, I think they're doing such a great job trying to develop the story of Marie along with these other side characters as they go on and go further. But there's so many twists and turns in there that, you know, you try to gravitate to one character and try to like hold on to them, thinking like, okay, this is going to be the, you know, the main person that I'm going to be seeing going forward. And then they take a L, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, yo, I thought he was going to be here, you know, going forward. And then I turn around and poof, you know? So I wouldn't say it's not disappointing, but also the show definitely keeps you on your toes for sure.
Yes. And Nadia said that before we jumped on about certain when we jumped on about certain shows, they don't care who they kill off. You know, you could be a headliner and you're gone the first episode, circa Clancy Brown on this show. Like, if you're excited like I was, thinking you're gonna get Clancy Brown live and in person for a whole season, my man's gone the first 25 minutes of the show. And you know, by apparently Patrick Schwarzenegger, which, you know, I wrote in our group chat. I said, oh crap, that's Schwarzenegger's kid, you know, known as Golden Boy, which, you know, I hated him the minute I saw his face. I'm like, oh, you're too pretty, you deserve to not be here. But any other things that really popped out as far as like characters, Nadia, that you think like, oh, I think going forward I want to gravitate toward this person?
I was just going to say one more thing I wanted to point out is that the show is based off like an arc and the comic. It's like a very small arc, which is kind of like based out of, and like Vought sorry, the institution is run by Vought Industries. So there's a lot of like references to the boys. You're gonna see like some cameos. We got to see a little bit of what's his name? Like brief like clips of like A-Train and the Deep. And then I always forget her name from Vought Industries, the crazy girl that pulls her hair out.
Oh, Ashley. Right?
Ashley. Yeah. So I like seeing like the references and the time.
She's insane.
Because it also like gets into the bigger picture of like say like Golden Boy, like he's being groomed as the next essential like Homelander, and like these kids are being promised all these things. Like basically that's why they're all assholes, and that's what I love about the show, because like you don't really like any of the characters. They're all so well written, and like you said, Cam, like you might like this character and follow them, but then they do something where you're like, oh, I don't like her. Like that's how
like, immediately
like, take all the credit. Like it's messed up because they're all doing all these like selfish things, but like that's kind of how Vought is. It's like like I always describe the boys to people that haven't watched it as, imagine Kanye West had superpowers. Like how crazy evil
oh God, no.
Like
don't even bring that up. That might like, happen and we're gonna be like, oh no.
That's essentially what the boys is. And then like these kids are being groomed to become that. So you'll see like even with Golden Boy, like you think he's the golden child, you think he's perfect, he's good looking, he has the best superpowers, he's like that star athlete, and like everyone loves him. But deep down, like he's going through all these tragic things with his brother, like Sam, who essentially later on we find out is alive and is being like I guess like still studied and worked on. I'm not really sure. But yeah, essentially like they're all going through these things like secretly, like bulimia and like all the other things you were mentioning, like to become a hero. And it's so fucked up.
And in reality, if I had the choice, if they say, hey, Damien, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a superhero? Do you want to be like a reality TV star? I'm taking the reality TV star. Fuck, in this world, from what y'all describe it as, I want no part of being a superhero. I'm good.
But I mean, you see how tragic that is too with what's her name? The Alice in Wonderland girl that
the half-inch girl.
Like how how messed up it is. Like her mother was like, here, sell your soul to be on TV, tell the world about your bulimia and keep doing it to get famous. Like there's no way in that's happy.
Right. And to be fair, that's a big topic, like we said about the first 3 episodes, is that there's always something else behind the actual character. You know, if not killing your parents, there's the bulimia, there's the gender switching and disappointment of your family. You know, it's trying to keep up with your dad's lineage of being in the 7. It's like, this is stuff that people go through in real life. So even though we ourselves are not superheroes, we can correlate to this as an audience. We can connect to it and say, I've been there. Oh, I know what this is. Oh, I know what a eating disorder is. You know, I know what backstabbing friends are, especially in the world of social media, where you think you're saying something in confidence and it gets broadcast for the entire universe, you know, to look at for clicks and views. So if people are looking to this as, let's say, what was that? The Runaways, something like very Runaways adjacent. It's not. It's a little bit more like we said, 90210 meets a superhero show, or like you said, The Boys. So I don't really want to like bog it all down. So let's just overview some of the highlights of the first 3 episodes, or maybe just 1 or 2 things that came up for you in every episode, you know, that the audience should be well aware of, or just that caught your attention. Whomever.
Go. I can go first. Okay. So I think the one part that really stood out to me, or I'm still trying to make sense of it, is Marie's actual powers, right? So I get it. I understand that her power is that she can manipulate blood, right? And turn it into
blood bending.
Yeah, like bending it, right? But what happens when her blood sugar level gets low, right? Like I'm like, what you only got so much blood in your body, right?
Right.
And then eventually you keep throwing it everywhere, you're gonna run out. So that was my whole thing I was trying to wrap my head around in this show. But I thought it was a cool aspect on her powers, because I guess eventually we're gonna see, you know, whether it was a deplete or if she needs to like take time to like recharge or something like that. Also, the one actor I don't think we talked about, what is his name? it was the son of Polarity.
Was it Andre Anderson also
Yes.
from Sabrina?
Yeah, Andre
He's
Anderson.
a metal bender. Yes.
Yeah. So I thought his power was really, really cool. If it wasn't for that girl getting bumped,
thank you.
and then I'm like, I don't know why you trying to do this in a club, dude. Like, you're not strong enough to probably stop it. And then she take it. I think it was episode one. Yeah. It immediately started. I was like, man. And that's what basically led to Brink, eventually Clancy Brown taking the L. So I love the show, but there's certain things I still got questions about that I would love to see in development as the series goes on. That's the best I can get for it. Yeah.
Nadia, what about you?
I guess character-wise, I do kind of like how with each and every individual character that we're introduced to, we're seeing like a dark side to them.
Yes.
So like we already mentioned with Maya, like I'm really surprised the show, I don't think I noticed, you know how shows usually show like a suicide prevention kind of thing?
Mm-hmm,
like
a
PSA. Yeah.
I feel like Maya has like some darkness in her. Like that's kind of why she's doing these things to like, I guess, elevate herself, because she has so much trauma that she's like, I need to be a superhero. I need to make up for this. I need to find my sister. I need her to know that I made something of myself. And I think we really see her like struggling with that. Cause like even how, I think it's episode 3 where she takes credit for everything. Like she acted like Golden Boy was like attacking her and she saved the day and kind of
single-handedly.
Right, yeah.
She kind of like betrayed her new friends. Like at first I was like, oh, well, like F them. But at the same time, it's like, no, they didn't know that Brink was like kicking you out. None of them knew. They weren't a part of like this big like conspiracy. So it's also like, no, girl, like you're really messed up. This kid died. You said he was really nice to you. Like Golden Boy was actually nice. He was one of the first kids to talk to her. And like, he didn't seem manipulative. So it was kind of like wrong on her behalf to like take the shine too. And then especially with Andre, who was like, I'm trying to remember his name. But that is his name in the show, right? Played by
Andre Anderson.
Yes. Sorry, his real name is
Andre.
Chance.
Yeah, Chance.
Yes. So Andre was like kind of her first friend, and like I don't think he really did anything that was like trying to be manipulative to her either. So it's kind of like, girl, like you're fucked up too, just as everybody else.
Right.
And then with Andre's situation, I feel like he genuinely cared about his friend, but I forgot who it was, but we were cracking up in the comics because these hoes ain't loyal, and his girl smashed him.
Fuck that girl. No.
What's her name? Cate Dunlap was her name on the show, right?
Oh my God. And I saw the tension, I saw the chemistry, but I was like, girl, like,
I know. I was like, that dorm room boy. I said, here you go.
I immediately told y'all, get the fuck out of here. Because I'm like, yo, your best friend and your man just died
yesterday.
That's his brother. Like you saw how like they always told each other they loved each other. Like they were brothers. I was like, bro.
Yep.
So every single character is fucked up in their own way.
Yeah, super fucked up.
And now that you mentioned that, do we peel back these layers of all these characters? You know, Marie wants to basically prove to her sister that apparently doesn't want anything to do with her, that she can be a hero and she's not a monster. Andre just doesn't want to be, and I actually related to one of the lines he said in episode 1. He goes, that is a level of responsibility I do not need, trying to, kind of keep up with his dad Polarity. And I'm thinking, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, don't want that level of, responsibility just for somebody else's sake, Also, Emma Meyer, the half-inch girl who had a YouTube show. When you find out, okay, you can shrink down. That's a cool power. And we see that in episode 3, how useful that power could be. And then you see how she becomes small by being bulimic. And you're thinking, oh no, we're really going to go down this rabbit hole. And in episode 2, she gets so small that she pretty much dies. Almost dies for being so small. And that means she had to constantly throw up and constantly vomit. And then there's the guy that wanted to have sex with her while she was small, which was a rather humorous, I'll say, scene of a man getting laid by a really small person. And
Yeah.
again, y'all seen The Boys. I've heard about the
yeah, there's a lot of penis in the boys.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's more than I would like to be in there, but it's there. So
and I'm like,
well,
yo, what am I watching? But y'all know this by now. So there is always something in the show to connect to, which is a good, I want to say, a secondary plot to the overall about, let's say, the conspiracies going on at this school where Indra Shetty, which is I guess the woman over everything. She's like almost like a headmistress of the school, the superintendent, where every scene the actress Shelley Khan is in, I don't trust her more and more as she's in every single scene. Because like she just gives off this conniving, any means necessary look in every scene she's in. You know, she'll take advantage of Marie's, need for acceptance or love and use that against her because she's covering up, obviously, the bigger picture. But, man, if looks can just give away who the effing villain is, for me right there, like, man, I can't trust you with anything, that character.
Yeah.
So, and she's over these kids. She's got to protect these kids as, like, the headmistress superintendent. Well, they're in for a shock.
Yeah, one thing with The Boys is everything is like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a show.
Yes.
Everything
front, yeah.
Everything is for the limelight. Like nothing is sacred. Like you saw even with The Boys, like Starlight's like battle with I guess like her morals. And with the show you see even the I forgot the name, it's like news reporter, like how she was so quick to like manipulate Maya, how she was like, so your sister, we found her and she wrote a letter and she never wants to see you again. And it's like, she said it to her right before she was going on camera.
Right.
So it's like, these people are so, like, no one is genuine. Everyone has their ulterior motives. Every single character has their ulterior motives.
Yeah. It is very much like that because everybody has something to gain and wants nothing from it, That main actress that you were talking about, that was like the I guess she's like the headmistress of the school. When she made those pancakes for her, okay, I was like, no. I was like, no, don't nobody just make you no damn pancakes and just met you. I was like, she definitely is trying to put you in a bag.
Yeah, like no headmistress kids that much.
No. I was like, okay, she's up to something, y'all. Pancakes with a smiley face? Nah, that's a lie. 100%.
That's why I'm a waffles person. You see, this is why waffles over pancakes.
I'm about to make some.
There you go.
Another thing too with The Boys is that it's very good at tackling like current themes and politics. Like the first season, oh man, there was so much like Trump references and MAGA references and all these crazy things. And I feel like it does it in a very way that's like kind of authentic. Like even though it's like supposed to be like satirical, it does a very good job of like bringing up these themes. And this season we see so there's two, Derek Liu and London Thor play the gender shifting superhero Jordan Lee. And I really like this character. Like I want to see more of what their powers are. Like I'm wondering if, I guess they would be appropriate, if they chose to look like this female character, or if that's their actual power, or if they can look like anyone. Like I'm curious to see if they expand upon that a little bit. But I kind of like how they made like that, I guess, their power, but there's a little more depth to it. It's not just I can become a female or I can become a male. It's kind of like implemented in, I guess, who the character is. And like we're gonna see more of like their parents basically being like, you were my firstborn son, like doing that. And then like meanwhile they're also battling with like, who are my real friends, who do I trust? Like I'm trying to like keep, I think she's in the top 10
the school.
So I guess that's also part of it, like staying true to their identity. Meanwhile, people are saying like you have to be him to become successful. So it's pretty cool.
And to that really quickly about the top 10 rankings, they're obsessed with these rankings. After Golden Boy dies, it's like, who's going to be number one? And Jordan thinks because they were they were pretty much the right hand of Clancy Brown's character, that was going to be enough to boost them to number one. And they go on to tell her or them during the show of, this is why we can't put you at number one. And it's a lot of it because of the gender bending abilities that they have. That's number one. And that's not sizzle enough for people to, let's say, invest in the school, because, episode 2, we're taken to the fundraiser where they have to raise money for the school about 12 hours after the death of Clancy Brown's character, as well as Golden Boy. It's okay, how are we going to spin this to make the school money and get some more notoriety? That's how we'll do it, as a fundraiser, as a memory of life. And then people are fighting over the top 10 like this is MySpace back in the day.
It felt like the school or even the students derive a lot of their popularity based on social media as well, which is kind of relatable to today as well. When they were talking about like, oh yeah, your numbers are down, the polls are down, people are not voting for you. And I'm like, is he in school or is he like just I'm like, what is going on right now? So, and then of course, was a character, Polarity, who's Sean Patrick Thomas. He was trying to push his son Andre, to take that top spot. And then I also noticed that, like, I didn't think about it until now, but through the pressures of his father, Andre is basically he has a sex addiction, right? That's his addiction to sex, right? I mean, because he said he wanted to, I'm not sure if I can say it, he wanted to suck his way to the top, right? That's what he said. So for him, that's how he deals with the pressure of his dad. And I didn't look at it now until I saw it, and I thought, like, dang, he had a window to say no, right, to the girl, Emma, who is his best friend's girlfriend for a while, but he couldn't, and her gloves were on. So Kate Dunlap. Kate Dunlap. She had the gloves on, so she didn't make him do it, But I feel like that's how he deals with grief and all his other stuff too.
And I could tell you, I did not like the Kate character in those moments, like the fact that. Who's the X-Men? Silver Fox, I believe her name is, in X-Men Origins. She uses her powers of persuasion, and it's one of those things where she was like Rogue meets that character. The minute she takes her gloves off, tells you what to do. Like, oh, you're gonna go grab a baseball bat and you whack yourself in the dick as hard as you can on the hour, and Yahtzee or something like that. So it's like, okay, and then you for grieving. You have sex with your boyfriend's best friend 5 hours after he's dead. Like, we
all deal with it in different ways, Damon. Okay.
Look, man, I've been agreeing with you for years. I have never once told a client.
Her character was a little wild though. Like,
also too, did you peep that she lied about knowing about Sam being alive?
Right.
Yeah.
And Sam is Golden Boy's brother, but she saved face, exactly. Sam's a lot. Girl, stop it. Stop it.
And then she showed up to the fundraiser, right? Right on time, right? Of course.
Yeah. And then Andre's like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, go away.
Right.
So he had to just be there. He's my boyfriend. I'm like, well, you just fucked his best friend. So why are you here? But she does come, I'll admit, end of episode 2 and 3, she does help out. So I'm willing to give her a little bit of a benefit. Her powers can be useful. Kilgrave-ish, as whatever it is. But for me, I know we're jumping around, guys, but just to be fair, we just want to cover 1, 2, and 3 as one big conglomerate, and then as the weeks go by, everybody we'll do it episode by episode and be more in depth that way. But the half-inch size soup, what's her name, Emma, I felt for her at first. And then, she gets drunk and high, because there's a lot of that in this show so far, the first 3 episodes. A lot of drinking and getting high, which, that's life. She proves herself useful, but she also had the trope at the end of episode 3 when they were like, run! And I'm screaming, pardon my French, I'm over here screaming, run, bitch! This is why y'all die in horror movies. Like, run! And she just stayed there, and she literally killed a man going through his cranium, through his ear.
Yeah, that was
ear, and covered in blood. And something that made me laugh, no scene, was at the end. You could see the dead man's ear hair. So kudos to the VX team that said, you know what? I'm gonna zoom in so much on this man's ear that we're going to give him ear hair. So that's something I like about VFX sometimes. But her character was just, it ran through a whole bunch of roller coaster emotions of self-acceptance. Like we said, her mom was like, go fuck yourself, mom, at the end. Like, yeah, stick up for yourself. But then, yeah, the end of episode 3, she's covered in blood and she killed a man. And we're left with that. That's kind of how we're just dropped in our laps. So any other thoughts on episodes 1 through 3 that just stick out character-wise or just what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I was going to say, we didn't touch on Sam that much. So that was Golden Boy Luke's brother, who was also injected with Compound V. But he seemed to get the bad end of the stick. Do you think that him and I just forgot her name again, the short shrinking girl,
Little Cricket,
had some kind of traumatic bonding before she killed that guy? Like, I'm almost wondering
oh, that's a good point.
yeah
what's gonna happen with Sam?
We don't know Sam is his brother at first because he's shown in episode 1 escaping
running,
the compound,
like an escape patient.
It definitely seemed like they might have had some type of connection, because I mean, her first thought seemed like it was for her to run, right, to get out of there, because even for her to take on that guy and decide, all right, I'm gonna plunge myself through this guy's eardrum and come out on the other side and kill him, that might be a good idea. Like, what if there was another guy? How was she gonna get in that guy's ear? You know, he would have seen her and be like, squish, you know. So for her to take that risk, it must have been something on the line for her that she felt a connection to this person, I think, too. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna see that develop.
To your point, she has no other powers besides shrinking. So Sam catches her before all this, puts her in the glass. So I'm thinking, oh no, Sam's gonna kill her. You know, we're just gonna see a human being get squashed. But like you said, there's some weird bond that we're kind of left on the cliffhanger with Sam. But Sam, Golden Boy's brother, who has been captured for God knows how long, and that's the reason why Golden Boy kills Brink. It's because he knows Sam's down there, and he wants Sam to be free, but yet they don't allow him to be free. So he kills the mentor of everybody else, which is Brink, Clancy Brown, who hopefully we'll see in more flashbacks, because that's a weird way to bring someone into a show. Like, look who we have, and then they're dead in the first 10 minutes.
Right.
I'm almost wondering too if Brink is supposed to be John Godolkin, if they're gonna
the founder.
Yeah, if he's kind of also playing both characters, if that makes sense. And I'm wondering if they go that route, because that's with the whole G-Men, they're kind of like a fake X-Men.
Right.
If they're gonna delve into that a little bit, because he was basically a pedophile. So I'm wondering if they're gonna go that dark route as well too, because Golden Boy did seem like he was I don't know, a little bit scared of him. He might have been
he did
a groomer.
Right. Yeah.
Thing with Sam, where they felt attached to him, but through obviously terrible means.
You know what? That's a good point.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
That is a really good point.
Now.
Yeah, honestly, it is. Because I just thought about it too. In the way they were in his office and they showed him that outfit and was like, hey, this is where we're gonna fit you in. And he was like, I can't pay for that. That seems like the way he said it seemed like, other means of payment type weird stuff, and I was like, oh, here we go. But now that kind of makes more sense though, for sure.
Which would make sense if Jordan Lee being passed over, being number 1 or 2 on the list, maybe they did a lot of stuff for him to, to get to that level, to be the teacher's aide. Let's not, mince words here. That happens in society every day.
Right.
Where it's using power dynamics to get, what you want. So who's to say that that's not something that's going to come up? And I really hope it does now that you brought it up. That'll be a very interesting topic.
That will be a twist, yeah.
Yeah, because the show, that's the whole thing with the school. It's a safe space. And it's all
my ass.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, hell no.
And then also another funny thing, they get into nepotism a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
I straight up thought that this, before I'll let you go real quick, I thought this was bootleg Professor X. That's who I got from Brink's character, because we always hear about Professor X is really a psychic molester of all the X-Men when they first started, taking advantage of Jean when she was 15, things like that. So I'm thinking maybe he was the Charles Xavier style character where, like you're saying, Nadia, just taking advantage of his place in the hierarchy to get what he wants, but it's all under the guise of like, he was a father to me, or he was my mentor. And maybe it'll go as the season goes on, more light will be shed on that situation. So good point, good catch.
That just made me think too, because you know how the Deep, he's the biggest, like, I'll sell my soul to the devil to get ahead. So like I think they showed, was it in episode 3, they showed a clip of the Deep or something, like I think
giving like a eulogy kind of thing.
He's so quick to sell his soul that I almost believe that like he could have done anything.
Probably, honestly. I think the one character that we were been talking about earlier, we kind of like talked about them, but the London Thor character, the transgender character that can like switch their powers back and forth. So I'm trying to figure out, all right, when they transform from, or they switch from male to female, is that when their powers activate? Because there was some points where it didn't and where it did. So I don't know. Maybe I was thinking maybe y'all had like a better understanding of how it worked.
I think from what it was described when they were talking to their dad at the party, like they started off in male form, and then when their powers, they gave the powers were to be able to swap genders. That was the power, as opposed to like, I can change into anything or anyone like Mystique. I think it might be connected to their emotions, because if you remember when they were having sex with the one Kitty Pryde person walking through the
the guy who came through the door.
He like walked naked through the walls. Right. They were freaking out, so they were able to switch because of a freak out. Now I don't know if it's because it was the parents, and like every kid gets freaked out when the parents are about to walk in on them potentially having sex. So maybe it's due to stress or frustration. But I believe the power basically is just to turn from male to female. I don't think they've even shown if they can change into anything else. And I guess we'll see as the season goes on, but I didn't see anything else but.
Oh, and one more thing. We should talk about the end scene at the like gala party where the girls are all kind of like connecting and bonding, I guess. Like, basically like we keep saying Marie. Was it Marie or Maya?
Marie. Marie. Yeah.
She basically feels like terrible, but then the girls are kind of telling her like, well, your parents injected you with this shit, and she was like defending them. So it's kind of like, oh, like that's such a touchy subject, because her parents did seem like good parents, but then you also had like the parents that treated their kids like showroom, like so it's kind of like
ponies.
So it's like, ooh, like that's a touchy subject, but I think that's kind of gonna be a turning point for Marie to like, I guess, forgive herself and move forward.
Now, Marie's character, I know they're a blood bender, but I could have sworn there's another character that has to cut in the comics. If I remember, someone has to cut themselves to actually have their superpower. Like their blood is their superpower. And I distinctly remember there being a superhero like this, but I don't recall off the top of my head. But the fact that it's a blood bender, like Avatar. So I'm thinking like, okay, so you carry this knife in your hand, because remember, they mentioned the fact that she's a cutter. And she justifies it as, well, that's my power. And I'm thinking, yeah, but it's also a convenient excuse to, cover up the fact that you may be a psychological cutter. Like, I didn't even think about that until it was brought up. Like, well, you're just a cutter anyway. So maybe you're just doing it because it helps you cover it up. So all these teenage and societal and just personal coping mechanisms that we see that just happen to coincide with their powers. It's like it's only activated in traumatic experiences. I have to vomit to shrink. I have to be naked to put myself on fire. I have to cut myself to use my powers. Like there's a monkey's paw aspect to all of this, right? Where in order to use these gifts, something tragic has to be done to you personally, physically, or psychologically, or both, for you to be able to use these powers. So for me personally, I'm thinking, oh, this is a lot more layered than people are probably going to think off top. Like if you really look at the underlying messages we're getting here, there's a lot more, to borrow the phrase, than meets the eye here. And I'm loving it, because now, me being the psych person, I'm going to tune my brain a little bit more instead of just looking at it as a superhero over the top superhero show, like, oh, what's the psychological thing behind this?
Yeah.
So I love that now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, same. It's definitely a lot more layered, like you said, than what meets the eye. When you hear Gen V and you see the show, you're thinking like, okay, this is kind of like a little prequel to the boys, and we're gonna see like some teens doing some cool stuff and going on some crazy adventures. But it's a lot deeper than that because it just seems like we always hear great power comes great responsibility, right? That was Spider-Man. But now it's like, but what about how do you handle all that responsibility? How do you handle all that pressure? And this is what you see as a result, people trying to be something that they're not, just to be on top.
Yeah. Backstabbing and all that good stuff, like we said earlier.
Fun times.
A lot of that.
Any other final thoughts, Nadia, Cam?
It just really impressed me. Like I said, sometimes I'm really like skeptical with like prequels or sequels. Sometimes they don't feel necessary and just feel like, I don't know, let's just make an extension just because the show's popular. But in this one, I don't think it's the case. I think it's adding a lot to, I guess, like the boys universe. And it's really surprising me, and it's touching a lot of serious topics, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, same. I definitely thought this was going to be like the Runaways, no offense, or Cloak and Dagger. I'm like,
So did I. I like Cloak and Dagger.
Nadia. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I wasn't a huge fan. I was like, give my man a bigger cape than that, okay? Can't just have Tyrone over here in a sweatshirt and like he good. But yeah, this thing is definitely adding a lot of layers, like Nadia said, to the whole entire I guess universe of the boys. I'm excited to see where it goes further on, but I really enjoyed these first 3 episodes for sure.
Yep, same here. I can't wait for more, and I think this is the whole point. They dropped these first 3 episodes September 29th over on Prime Video, and it whets our appetite for the entire season. But that has been our spoiler-filled review show, which every week we will have one each week for each episode. Be prepared for spoilers and for shock and awe if you watch this show. Again, this is Gen V over on Prime Video. First 3 episodes dropping September 29th. Thank you all for watching us here on Big Gold Belt Media. Go to @BigGoldBelt for all your wrestling and entertainment and all the fun stuff news over there. Myself at Damon G Show. Cam, where can people find you?
You can find me over at Cam's Collection.
And Nadia?
GothamGeekGirl.com, YouTube, and now Spotify.
All right, well, there you go, guys, and we'll catch you next time on Big Gold Belt Media with another review of Gen V.